Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Village of Gurnee Planning and Zoning Board for this Wednesday, March 4th, 2026. We have roll call, please.
Campbell.
Present.
Morgan.
Here.
Nordentoff.
Here.
Half.
Here.
Ware.
Here.
Sula.
Present. We do have a quorum. If everyone would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, before we get to the regular agenda, I'd like to take a moment to recognize the passing of Ronita Martin, our fellow commissioner and friend. I've had the opportunity to work with her not only on this board, but on other committees, and I always found her to be well-prepared and a solid contributor, and I miss her insights and perspective. So if everyone please join me in a moment of silence to honor her memory. Thank you. First item on the agenda is opportunity for public comment. This is for an opportunity for things that are on the agenda, but not the public hearing, because we have special procedures for the public hearing. So does anybody have any comments? This is not about the public hearing.
So when do we make comments?
During the public hearing process, we have the what happens during the public hearing is staff will make a quick presentation to the board. The petitioner will make a presentation. We'll deliberate and ask questions, a first round of questions, and then I open the floor to the public, and then the public has the opportunity to address questions to us, and then we'll address the questions and then deliberate again before making a recommendation to the village board for their decision.
I should probably remember.
Okay. All right. There being none, I'll close the floor to the public. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from our meeting that was held back on February 4th. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Changes? There being none, a motion to approve as submitted would be in order.
So moved.
To approve.
There was a tie. I heard Mr. Paff, and I didn't. Was that you, Todd?
Yeah, I'll second it then.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Paff, second by Mr. Campbell. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing for a zoning map amendment for approximately 1¼ acres located around 1085 Northwestern Avenue. Who has staff report? Shannon?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The petitioner is applying for a zoning map amendment to create an R4 two-family residential zone to build duplexes on the remaining 5 lots of his 7-lot subdivision. The lots as platted are approximately 80 feet by 126 feet, meeting the 40-foot width per two-family dwelling unit dimensional standards of the R4 two-family residential district. Additionally, the proposed duplexes will be individually owned and price range from $250,000 to $280,000 per unit to $500,000 to $560,000 for the full duplex. The subject lots as proposed meets the standards of the comprehensive plan and the standards for the zoning map amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there someone from the petitioner here? Okay, as this is a public hearing, I would request that anyone from the petitioner or members of the general public who intend to give testimony or ask questions to please stand and be sworn in by the village attorney.
And that's if you think you're going to have any comments. So it's probably best, even if it's remote, you might as well stand up all at the same time and raise your right hand. It's real easy. Don't be bashful. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, you may be seated. Thank you.
And sir, if you could please use the microphone in the center of the room.
And if you do speak, please write your name and information on that sheet of paper up front.
Okay. My name is Marcos Gerbe. I'm the
the owner and the investors that is building those 2 houses. I just did those right now. It's just that in front of the building, there's a warehouse. So I think it's time to go. I'm doing like a 2,800 square feet homes. So I was thinking if I can go to zone 4 where I can do a duplex, doing the same square feet, 2,800 square feet, just divided like 1,400 square feet a piece. I'm not going nothing bigger, just duplex, that's all.
Who would like to start with questions? Dave?
My first question is related to lots 1 and 2. So you have developed those lots with single-family homes, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you develop those as spec homes, or did you have existing owners that you built?
No,
So
like
they're-
spec home.
Okay. So if you've done that for lots number 1 and number 2, why haven't you continued to just go ahead and finish that with the remaining lots and just continue to do the same thing?
Because it's just because I think I will have a problem because this factory across the street, like industrial, and I won't have problems. I think I won't have problems selling them because on the second one, I don't like when I was doing the first one, I had a lot of people calling in how much when the house is going to be done, and on the second one, I haven't got no calls. So I don't know because if it's a busy street, like for a family, they have kids or something.
Okay, so I understand and I'm clear. Have either lot 1 or lot 2 sold?
Lot 1 has sold.
Lot 1 is sold. Lot 2 is not sold.
No, sir.
And if I understood what you said, you're having a difficult time selling,
Yes.
correct? Okay, so given that, to me, that sounds like a hardship. And I think one of the things that we use when we're evaluating is whether we're doing this because there's a vision for a subdivision or a neighborhood or a region, you know, versus making an adjustment or a change to the need of the owner because of, in this case, perhaps maybe an economic hardship. Now, I zoomed out on the zoning map to look for other R4 two-family dwelling units. And there is a little bit of that in the region. It's a couple blocks away. And again, I'm not here to try to learn as to how that developed and when it developed and why it developed that way. But clearly, in the immediate vicinity, it's predominantly R3, single family. And so I just raised the question, maybe to my fellow commissioners, if this is a situation where we want to create islands of R4 within an area that's already substantially an R3 single-family area. And I acknowledge the fact that it's adjacent to an industrial area, and I acknowledge that in certain circumstances we buffer, we create transitional types of housing from different types of uses and whatnot, but that seems to be a very isolated instance in this particular case, and so I don't know if that's applicable maybe in this particular instance. So that's my initial comments.
Edwin?
Sure, I'll go. At first, I thought it was a great idea, just Dave was saying, that use that for a buffering. But part of the problem I find here is there's no parking on the street at all on either side. And these driveways on these single-family homes are small enough. Now we're talking 2 families. So not going to be very easy for them to have enough parking for guests or anything. There is no place that I could see around. Next streets are considerable distance away. Another issue that I saw in this neighborhood, and it's the same for everybody on that street, is it's not an easy way out onto Grand Avenue. So Pacific, or to get out and go back to Grand Avenue. Can't go onto 41 going south. I think they've made a lot of good. Is all R3 in the area. I don't know is R4 adjacent.
Yeah, I was at, excuse me, I was at the site earlier today, and I have to agree with the commissioners there that with the parking, I actually had to put my hazards on, pull off to the side, and actually was blocking traffic a little bit while I was looking at everything. So yeah, parking would definitely be an issue, and just the natural feel of the whole area, for lack of a better way of explaining it, with the single family homes is the feel that that's there. It might not be a valid reason for my saying, but still, yet it just doesn't seem to fit the neighborhood. And then, as the commissioner down there was saying, that there is no easy way to get to South 141. You actually have to, I forget the name of the street that you can't turn left on. You have to actually go back toward 41, come back up, and then try to get back to Grand Avenue a different way. So it's very difficult, and the parking and stuff would probably be very difficult as well. So those are the things that I saw.
Although I appreciate the fact that you want to bring diversity in housing opportunities to the village, offering less costly housing, that I do appreciate. And I do appreciate also the way it's designed. It doesn't look like it's, townhomes right next to each other. It looks like a house. It blends in, looks like a single house. That I do like, but I have to, I listen to the comments, and traffic is very important. Safety is important. So I don't know that would be the best placement for these duplexes.
One question that I had, and then you mentioned something that sparked another question. So the lot 2 has not sold, and I don't know what the price point is, but it seems like there may be an issue just with selling properties on that strip because of the industrial nature of it, number one. And with the commissioners, and Chair, if he could address this, because I had the same, is there availability for parking or a drive on either side of these lots, or that would not fit on the lot?
Question for staff or the petitioner?
Yeah.
So you could,
Staff, yeah.
yeah, so the first street north, the lot 1 is oriented towards, I believe it's Grand Moore.
Right, so it doesn't,
So
it doesn't front north. I mean, I didn't see a driveway off of Northwestern
Correct.
onto lot 1. You come in the cul-de-sac on the other side.
Right. Lot 1 is oriented towards Grand Moore, and the driveway access is off of Grand Moore.
Yeah.
Lot 2 is the first one that he's built that's oriented towards Northwestern.
Correct.
So your question is, would
If it's a duplex style, right, is the capacity for one driveway or 2
there would be a driveway for each half.
for each half?
They could be combined in the center. I don't know what his building plan is. So you could have like a common shared driveway that's split down the middle and have a garage on each side, or they could have a separate driveway leading to a garage space for each of the 2 lots.
So there could be a driveway that would be the north and the south side of the structure?
Potentially, yes. And it would be limited by the size of the garage. So if it's a 1-car garage, it'd be a smaller driveway. The 2-car garage, it could be a wider driveway. With it being just a 40-foot wide lot, that doesn't give you, you'll have to abide by the setbacks north and south. So that doesn't give them a whole lot of buildable area. I think you're probably looking at a 30-foot wide, 40-foot wide lot. 10 feet of that would be a set interior side yard setback. So you're only looking at a 30-foot wide structure. If 20 feet of that is a garage, that doesn't give you much wiggle room for a two-car garage.
Yeah, okay. So sounds like there's not a lot of opportunity to have a lot of parking on the on the site, on the lot.
You
itself.
could probably have one in the garage and one or two out front
In total.
in total
Or half,
for each half.
for each half.
Okay. I mean, from my perspective, when the existing zoning was requested, all of the other activity or conditions around the property were in existence. So this isn't a new situation. It's not like the industrial portions just appeared out of nowhere, that they're well established. I'm greatly concerned about the doubling down, if you will, of the number of families that'll be in a very short space, especially given that there's no parking allowed on that street. And that the ability for overflow parking to occur elsewhere in the neighborhood doesn't really lend itself because it's quite a hike. So it doesn't seem to me like it's a good plan to consider that. With regard to the rendering, if you will, of what something could look like, I would caution the commissioners to remember that that's just a concept. It's not, we're dealing with a zoning issue here. So that might look nice, but there's no guarantee that that's going to happen. We have to deal with the pure zoning issue.
And you do have the testimony of the square footage, which might be less than what's depicted.
Right, right. Okay. With those comments, I'll open the floor to the public. So if anyone has any questions, if you could please come to the microphone, state your name.
Can I see that?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
State your name for the record and your address. Direct your questions to the members of the Planning and Zoning Board. After we've heard all the questions, I'll close the floor to the public. We'll address the questions and concerns the best we can, and then we'll deliberate again before we make a recommendation to the village board. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jory Stuckwish. It's nice to see you again. I'd like to offer my sincerest condolences for the recent passing of Renita Martin. In my experience, she was very thoughtful and considerate in her role here, and her absence is felt tonight. Regarding tonight's agenda, I'm here to respectfully oppose the proposed rezoning of the 5 lots on Northwestern Avenue. I'm asking the board today to reflect on your past decisions to reject rezoning similar properties in the same area and remain consistent in your thoughtfulness for the impact this type of rezoning has on the safety and compatibility for all the properties involved. At the PZB meeting November 2nd, 2022, residents of the same neighborhood opposed rezoning single-family residential lots to two-family on Belle Plaine Avenue. The PZB unanimously rejected this rezoning. Mr. Sula argued that this did not meet the criteria of a transitional development, stating that the other nearest two-family residential lots are, quote, a city block away, and therefore the rezoning was incompatible with neighboring residential properties, and he saw no compelling reason to allow this particular land to be rezoned. At another PZB meeting, July 16th, 2024, there was an informal review for a beautiful multifamily residential development on Tri-State Parkway, which your board also unanimously rejected. Mr. Path stated the land was too small and 10 feet from a busy street overlooking a commercial district. Mr. Campbell echoed this and also had concerns for children ending up playing in the parking lots across the street. Mr. Morgan stated the multifamily residential wasn't appropriate leading into industrial districts. Ms. Martin felt the road was unsafe for school bus stops. Similarly, the lots in question today are located directly across the street from an industrial district, and the proposed two-family residential homes are incompatible with the existing single-family homes on Northwestern Avenue and adjacent properties. And in fact, the only exception is a limited multifamily residential lot 1 mile north, which also happens to have its driveways on a side street, and it's adjacent to a park, which also makes it a little more family-friendly. In contrast, the proposed lots are located on the busy corner of Granville, leading immediately to the Highway 41 on-ramp, with driveways all on Northwestern, which is a street known for heavy traffic and high speeds. In fact, Northwestern goes straight from Granville all the way to Sunset Avenue without a single stop sign. The GPT stats for the digital speed sign for April 2025 showed 82,490 total vehicles traveling on Northwestern. And there's also heavy truck traffic from the industrial districts. And although there are existing homes on this street, most of the homes instead have driveway access on side streets. And creating higher density housing in this area will only compound the existing issues. Just as your board previously rejected higher density housing for reasons of inadequate and unsafe space for multiple families, these lots face the same issues. Thank you again for your consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, Planning Zoning Board members. My name is Carrie Eager, and I also offer my condolences for the recent loss of Renata Martin. My family and I have lived on Waveland since 1997. My home is located directly behind the Northwestern lots proposed for rezoning, and I oppose the rezoning. The developer requesting the rezoning recently built the single-family home on the lot right next door at 1081 Northwestern. This developer is arguing that he cannot sell the single-family home, and that is why he wants to rezone the other lots. However, the developer's property at 1081 Northwestern was put on the market as private listing only that states the property is still under construction and showings aren't available. The home was listed on December 1st, 2025 for a minimum of $510,000 with a maximum of $520,000, and the listing had expired. Comparing similar real estate in this area, you can see that this is not appropriately or competitively priced. Pictures that I provided of the property in its current condition, and you can see that it is not show-ready, and the sidewalks are cracked from the construction. Based on comparable real estate in the area, it is reasonable to assume that the 1081 Northwestern single-family home will sell when listed and priced competitively. In fact, there are several single-family homes on Northwestern and nearby that have sold recently. 1231 Northwestern sold in October 2021 for $285,000. 1251 Northwestern sold in October 2020 for $275,000. And 3764 Grandmore, which is diagonal from the 1097 Northwestern, was sold in October 2021 for $349,000. This board's role is to maintain the integrity and viability of the village in a manner that serves the best interest of our community and businesses, not to help the developers maximize the money they can squeeze out of some small residential lots at the expense of the residents living there. I support thoughtful housing development. It should be done in a way that is compatible with existing neighboring properties. I urge the board to deny this rezoning request and instead pursue housing growth in the appropriate compatible locations. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I'm speaking as a private citizen.
Thank you.
Hello, most of the stuff I'm going to say is kind of a ditto, and I do give my condolences also. My name is Karen Rozwadowski. I've lived on my property on Belt Plain, my family and I, for 38 years. I am opposed to rezoning the Northwest properties. I do not believe the developer is unable to sell the single-family homes on these lots. In fact, my daughter's family has been trying to purchase a single-family home in the neighborhood for quite some time, but the homes sell so fast she hasn't been able to find anything. It seems like the single-family home on Northwestern that is the developer is selling is overpriced, and that's the reason why it hasn't sold. I also think that increasing the housing density on Northwestern is a bad idea. First of all, the lot across from an industrial district, upzoning this property would significantly increase the lot increase the number of residents exposed to the industrial traffic and other industrial byproducts. While single-family zoning already raises compatibility concerns, higher density housing multiplies those risks. There are some public safety concerns. Northwestern Avenue is a high-speed traffic and heavy truck traffic area. Upzoning these lots would bring more children, pedestrians, and cyclists and increase the chance of accidents and other risks related to living across the street from an industrial district. All the nearby homes on Northwestern are single-family, and most of them have driveways that open on side streets or more of a buffer from a busy street. This rezoning seems inconsistent with sound land use planning principles, and it sets a precedence for further encroachment of incompatibility properties into the area. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you.
I do have questions. I'll make my statement and ask my questions. My name is Rachel Thiem. My family owned our home at 1046 Waveland since 1978. I'm here today because I oppose the rezoning this property from a single-family home to duplexes. Recognizing and rezoning from 5 residential properties to higher density housing is not compatible with the surrounding area, because the surrounding area consists of primarily single-family homes, which is how the subject property is currently zoned for. I've lived for over 45 years in this area with Northwestern behind our property. By behind, I mean directly behind, because my property is on the other side of number 4. I've seen the traffic grow exponentially on Northwestern, especially with drivers traveling from Highway 41 to Sunset and vice versa. If the developer were to put up 5 duplexes on this property, the amount of drivers on Northwestern would also multiply. In turn, the number of families entering and exiting their driveways would double. I wanted to point out that there are no stop signs in that area coming off of Granville all the way down to Sunset. Rezoning the property for duplexes does not promote the public health, safety, and welfare of the village. The property is highly suitable for single-family homes, which is what is currently zoned for. This is evident by the current 9 single-family homes located on Northwestern between Kloss, Distributing, and Granville. That's where those properties are. The 28 single-family homes on Waveland, which is directly behind the properties on Northwestern, there are 28 single-family homes. There has been no evidence presented that supports the property is better suited for duplexes rather than single-family homes. The proposed amendment does not benefit the needs of the community. This parcel of land is intended for 5 families. It is too small to fit 10-plus families, creating higher density housing on a street already known for its traffic hazards, and it's unsafe for our community. In closing, I urge the board to deny the rezoning of the property from single-family home to duplexes. Thank you for your time, and here are my questions. 1, where will 2 families worth of residents park? Also included, where will their guests park on Easter, on Christmas, on birthdays, on holidays? My second question, where will the buses pick up 10-plus families worth of kids to be picked up? Mind you, there are no stop signs except for all the way down on one end. Will these duplexes only house 2 families each? So does a duplex mean 1 family, or can they stack another family on top? That's my question. 4, will the vehicles block the sidewalk if there's not enough room on the driveway for more than 1 vehicle? Let's say a family, I'm a family, I have 3 kids. I have a car, my son has a car, and my husband have a car. So if there's more than one car, will that second car block the sidewalks? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other questions?
My name is Mateen Kumawala. I live right across on the wavelength, 2 houses from the properties in question. I've lived there for more than 24 years. The lot has been there for 24 years or more, as Rachel was pointing out. There have been many development in Gurnee. The new houses were also developed on the south, on the east of that property, just on Bale Plain and others. There were new properties being made. I'm pretty sure developers had the idea at that time as well that we could pick up this property and convert it into housing. Nobody did that. One of the interesting things what I find is you start a project by adhering to a zoning and all those things, and then you try to sneak in because now I can force hardship or show it to a village saying, hey, I can't do this. Otherwise, I'll be stuck. It's an economical sort of a tangent on me. Please rezone it. Okay, let's do that too. Now, what you're talking about, the way I look from the way I've roamed about the property, it's a small house to begin with. Then you're trying to do half of those, so you're building duplex. Now you're carving it into more 50%. So what? You're trying to build a house maybe for 250 or at the most 450 square foot and sell it in the market, and then stuff with maybe, wrong word, stuff is not a good word, but it comes to mind that way. With 4 or 5 people or maybe with kids and everybody, and that creates issues. When I go, like because I live on Waveland, for me, I can access 41 North from there or 41 South through Grand Avenue. For these guys, they live to commute around, or they will come back and ask city to even change that and make that street inbound as well from the industrial area. So my point is, I think Jory as well pointed some of those things from the past. There are certain things you all abide by. There are certain things village has within its decorum of how these things will allow or not allow. Mid-project, nobody should be able to come and just ask you saying, hey, I'm not gonna be able to do it. I wanna change this and I wanna increase my payout. That's not why we are here. I think those people who live in this neighborhood have been staying there for a while, and those properties are at least from anywhere from range of $300,000 to $500,000 compared to the new development they will do. And consider those things as well when you make decisions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? We'll get back to you when it's time to answer the questions. All right, at this time, I'm going to close the floor to the public, but before I do that, I just want to acknowledge that we received emails from Meshwas Duran and Donna Layden, also expressing opposition to the proposed project. A lot of what I think I heard was echoing concerns that were expressed by members of the Planning and Zoning Board, with the exception of some questions that require some clarification. By definition, a duplex would be 2 different families in all likelihood. Bus stops are not under our purview. The school district would determine where the particular bus stops would be located to service that area based on demand. As regards to parking, there's no parking on Northwestern, so the parking would have to be on the driveways of the residential units. With regard to the sidewalk, I think technically it's against village ordinance to block the sidewalk, so we'd have a police enforcement issue there. Dave, did I miss anything?
No, the front setback for the home would be a 30-foot setback, the same as it would be for a R3 currently zoned. So, which is adequate length to have
One
a
car.
vehicle in
Right.
front of the garage door. They may have the house set back farther than that, which would allot for additional vehicles, or it could be additional width, but there's room for at least one vehicle in front of the garage before it would block the sidewalk. And it is a violation of village code to block sidewalk, and our code enforcement officers and CSOs and police officers are aware of that and do ticket for that violation.
You, sir, did you do need to use the microphone, please. And while he's getting up there, I'd like to remind anybody that asked a question or made a comment to be sure that you signed the sheet that's like right in front of me here.
See, I didn't know it was gonna be like this. If I would've knew, I would never approached it. And I don't got nothing against you guys. I'm here to help help the community. If it's like that, just leave it the same. I'm not trying to here make money. The thing is, you said something.
Sir,
Why the
sir,
house?
sir, you need to address your questions.
Why the house is so high? The codes have changed. We got sprinkler systems now in the houses. Now the house needs insulated, foam insulation. The walls are 2x6s. So I see all this drama. I never thought it was gonna be like this. For me to change the zoning. Thank you for your help. But it feels like that I'll stay single house, single homes. It's just that I didn't know it was gonna be all this like this. I thought it was gonna be more easy. But now that I see everybody's point, I'm not here to make money or I'm just trying, I thought it was gonna be easy coming to you guys, say, this is what's going on. If I would've knew it was gonna be like this, I would never approach you guys to the city from zone 3 to zone 4. So yeah, if it's this, I'll stay with zone 3 and just, I'm good with it.
So I guess the question is, are you
rescinding your,
withdrawing?
are you withdrawing your request?
Yes, if it's like this, yes.
Okay. So I guess in that case, a motion would be in order to formally acknowledge that the request has been withdrawn.
So move.
Second?
Second?
Second by Mr. Paft. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Campbell,
Aye.
Morgan,
Aye.
Nordentoft,
Aye.
Half,
Aye.
Ware,
Aye.
Sula.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, everybody. Next item on the agenda is a meeting scheduled for March 18th. Are we going to have one?
Don't believe we have any public hearings scheduled.
We
so
don't.
most likely will be a canceled.
Okay. All right. In that regard, I'll open the floor to the public for items that are not on the agenda this evening, but related to planning and zoning items. Topics, I should say. There being none, I'll close the floor to the public. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, everybody.